Yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I will call this meeting to order and flag, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Somebody hit continue on that. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Sounded good with all of us saying it together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I will say the invocation today. We ask the Heavenly Father in thy infinite wisdom to guide the members of this board in such a way that all their thoughts, endeavors, and decisions will be made for the betterment of the entire community. We also beseech thee to protect our country from all conflicts, both foreign and domestic. Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Director Sewell?
Here.
Director Grasha?
Yes, here.
Director Duncan?
Here.
Vice President Martin?
Here.
And President Wright?
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum. Madam President, before you continue, I just had another public member join our meeting. Joran Olaf, are you here to observe or would you like to make public comment today?
No, thank you. I don't have any public comment right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. So seeing that we have no public comments today, correct? Excuse me, I missed number 4, rules of procedure, Mr. Pinckney.
I had to unmute myself. According to the rules of procedure adopted and approved by the Board of Directors, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. All questions and remarks should be addressed to the president as the presiding officer. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on the subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting. In order to ensure the orderly progress of board meetings, the board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you. So we don't have any public input, correct? No members of the public. So I will skip number 5 and go on to Human Resources Report, number 6. Mr. Wallen.
All right. Well, nothing, none of those significant, anniversaries, but we have a new hire, Joseph McEnroe, Collections Operator 2. Congratulations to him, and we look forward to having him on board. Comes very highly qualified. Anniversaries, we have Alex 9, who's been here 4 years. Some of you I know have met him several times and want to congratulate him for making it that long. And then Victoria Lord has been here 2 years. It just doesn't seem like it's been that long. So it's good to have Victoria here. We know how well she does with the public outreach and want to say thanks for that. Colton is been promoted to Field Operations Technician 2. He was in water production and moved up. So congratulations there, Colton. And he also has also accomplished his water distribution certification grade 2. And we always are proud when we see our employees moving forward with the certifications. And then Andy, grade 3. Wow, working his way up. He's a great water treatment plant operator, and that's very accomplished to get to that 3rd level with the short amount of time that he's been here. So congratulations to Andy, and that's it for today.
Do we have some of the guys on here and that leave?
I don't know that we have anybody. I don't think so. Do we, Bassam? Oh, maybe Lee does.
Do you have somebody in your one of these employees that we?
I have Andy and Joey and Andy here with me.
Joe, okay, there you go.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Would you like a little background on Joey?
Sure.
Yes, please. You know, you're kind of low. Can you turn up?
You got to speak up a little bit.
So we stole Joseph from Valley Sanitary District. He comes to us as a collections operator too, with over 2 years of experience. He's been with us just over a month and he's working out very well for us. He works with David Weaver, our collections lead, and they've been out there every day hitting it hard and cleaning lots of pipe and inspecting lines. And then for Andy, decided it wasn't part of his job requirement, but he went and took his grade 3 exam after taking the year off for COVID postponement, and he passed it on the first try. So congratulations, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Congratulations on your certificates, your promotions, and your anniversaries. Get them all in one there. Anybody else on there? No other, that's it? Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lee. Okay, we'll go on to item number 7, which is a public hearing for the resolution 2021-07 to fix and levy on collect water standby assessments. So this is the time. This is the time and place fixed to solicit the public's input on respect to Mission Springs Water District making determinations to fix, levy, and collect water and sewer standby fees for the fiscal year 2021. The public hearing will be declared open. I now open the public hearing and staff will give their reports. I will then call for comments from the public. During this time, there will be no back and forth conversation between the public, the board, and the staff. All questions will be noted and will be addressed after all public comments have been received. The public hearing will then be closed and the board may have discussions if necessary. So I will declare this public hearing open now. Secretary's report, please.
Notice of public hearing was posted to the Desert Sun on May 28th and June 4th, 2021. Additionally, public hearing postcards were mailed to all customers on May 10th, 2021, notifying them of today's hearing. As of this afternoon, there have been no comments or protests on this item.
Okay, any public, let's see, if there's no public present. Okay, so is there anybody, do I ask?
You have to do the staff report first, Madam President.
Yeah. And make that.
That would be Joanne?
Yes.
Okay, Joanne, staff report.
Good afternoon, members of the board of directors and staff. My name is Joanne Bagayas with Wildan's Financial Services, and I'm here to assist you with the public hearing for the levy of the 2021-2022 water and sewer standby charges. As previously noted, public hearing was published in the Desert Sun newspaper on May 28th and again on June 4th for both water and sewer standby districts. On May 10th, postcards giving notice were mailed to 3,920 property owners of charged parcels. For the water standby, notices was published and postcards were mailed to the 3,184 property owners of charged parcels. The minimum charge is $26.80 per parcel. Parcels larger than an acre are charged $26.80 for each acre within 330 feet of the water line. Additional acreage beyond 330 feet and within 1,320 feet is charged $13.40 per acre. There are no charges or increases in the standard charges. Parcels are charged if they abut a water line constructed prior to the passage of Prop 218. There are approximately 20,534 parcels within the district, of which 4,792 parcels are being charged for a revenue of $237,307.57. An acre deduction is given for each water meter connected prior to July 1st, 2021. Sewer standby notices were given and postcards were mailed to the 736 property owners of charged parcels. The procedures for collection of the district's sewer standby charges are similar to the procedures for the levy of the water standby charges. The minimum charge is $10 per parcel. Parcels larger than an acre are charged $10 for each acre within 330 feet of the sewer line. There are no changes or increases in the standby charges. Parcels are charged if they abut a sewer line constructed prior to Proposition 218. There are 8,860 parcels in the district, of which 1,114 parcels are being charged for a revenue of $13,210.50. An acre deduction is given for each meter connected to a sewer line prior to July 1st, 2021. And that's the end of the staff.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Is there any public questions, Dory, first?
I will have to go through each public to ask them if they care to make public comment.
You guys, they can raise their hand too if they know how on their.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item?
This is Russell Betts. I don't wish to speak on the item. There's no raise hand feature here, so thank you.
Oh, there's no, okay, sorry.
Yeah, those on the phone, simply on the phone, may not have that feature.
Okay. Okay, so hearing anybody else, speak up if you have. Okay, not hearing anybody else, so we will now staff address any questions that are needed to the staff. Does any of the board members have any questions, comments?
No questions from me.
Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Roll call vote, please, to approve resolution. Oh, never mind. I'm going to do the other public hearing first, right, Dory? Do both public hearings and then have the vote? I can't hear you.
We did the public hearing on both items, 7
That
and
was for
8,
both.
and we'll vote on them separately, but we
Okay.
need a motion first before we can vote.
Okay, thank you. I didn't realize that was.
I move,
Okay.
I'd like to move resolution number 2021-07, making a determination to fix, levy, and collect water service standby assessments for fiscal year 2021-2022.
And for item number 8, also resolution
And we'll do
2021.
two separate votes, Madam
Yeah.
President.
I think it's going to have to be 2. Did you have 2 public hearings in one?
We did.
Yes.
We combined 7 and 8, did the public hearing for both, but we'll do
We had to vote on them
separate
separately.
votes.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor. We'll take that motion of 2021-22. I mean,
Item
resolution
7.
number 2021-07. I have a motion by Director Gracia. Okay, I have a second by Director Sewell.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion for resolution 2021-08 to fix and levy and collect sewer standby assessments.
So moved.
I've got
I
it.
didn't catch that one.
I think it was Randy was moved and
I don't know who and I'll second it.
Russ is seconding
Thank
it.
you.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more public hearing for item number 9. It's public hearing for resolution 2021-13 to adoption of the 2020 Coachella Valley Regional Urban Water Management Plan. So this is the time and place to fix and solicit public input in respect to the Mission Springs Water District making determinations to adopt the 2020 Coachella Valley Regional Urban Water Management Plan, adopt the 2021 Water Shortage Contingency Plan, and adopt Appendix L addendum to the Urban Water Management Plan. The public hearing will be described or to be declared open, then the staff will be given their reports, then there'll be comments from the public. During this time, there'll be no back and forth conversation any questions from the public will be answered after all public comments. Okay, so I will declare this public hearing open. Secretary's report, please.
Notice of public hearing was posted to the Desert Sun on May 28th and June 4th, 2021. As of this afternoon, there have been no comments or protests on this item.
Thank you. Staff report, Victoria Lort.
Good afternoon, Madam President, members of the board. I'm just sharing my screen here. Bear with me one sec. Okay, so we are here to discuss the Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan, as well as Appendix L to the 2015 UWMP. So the 2020 Coachella Valley Urban Water Management Plan, as we've talked about, and we've brought this item to you in the month of April, as well in the month of May as an informational item. It's a regional plan bringing together our 6 agencies as shown here on the right side of your screen. And this regional approach was done in order for alignment with other regional plans and regional agencies across the board. So briefly, I just want to go over some of the key elements of the plan and the water shortage contingency plan. So the Urban Water Management Plan, chapters 1 through 3, you have your regional chapters, as well as the overview of supplies in the Coachella Valley. And then chapter 4 through 9 include individual agency chapters and how each agency is meeting reporting requirements through the Urban Water Management Act. And our chapter, as well as the other agencies, talked about a 20% reduction by 2020 that was established by SB X7-7. And since 2005, MSWD has actually seen a 39% reduction. Moving into the water shortage contingency plan, we went through, as mentioned, we went through some of the response levels and each individual action items during some of the informational updates in April and May. However, one of the significant differences between the 15 and the 2020 plan are the response action levels. So we went from 3, or in this case 4, the 1A, to 6 different response action levels. And as you see here, it's broken down when you're not, the percentage by which you're not able to meet demand. Since we have last brought this item to you, or this update to you in May, there has been some updates or some response action level updates on the water shortage contingency plan. One of them are to allow for leak checks and conservation alternative plans for daylight watering, as well as the removal of the prohibition of initial swimming pool filling. However, as a result, we changed the wording for prohibition of outdoor watering to state outdoor water use in level 6, which would include initial pool filling as well. And another item that differed was the prohibition of misting systems that moved from a level 3 to a level 5 action. Just want to let you know that we will be coming back for the water shortage contingency plan for ordinance updates in the July board meeting. So we're not updating our ordinances this meeting. We will be doing that in the July meeting. And these water shortage contingency plan ordinances are also relating to water waste provisions and the structures in place for how we as a staff address those. Other items that you'll see with the Urban Water Management Plan is an annual assessment. This is going to begin in 2022 with the first assessment due by July 1st. And this is going to analyze expected demand and supply for each coming year. Another item that you'll see, which is part of today's adoption, is Appendix L. And Appendix L has to do with how the region is increasing the use of local water supplies and how we're reducing reliance on supplies from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. This is as a result of the Delta Reform Act from 2009. And so this is already included in the 2020 plan as an appendix. However, in order to demonstrate consistency with this policy, we are requesting to go back to the 2015 plan and adopt this amendment to it. Appendix L. Just touching briefly on community involvement, we did hold as a region 2 virtual public workshops in December of 2020 and March of 21, as well as numerous email blasts to stakeholders, not only about the public workshops that we would be holding, but as well the fact that the draft documents were available for review on each agency website, as well as the IWRMG website. And so those were available for review and for comment as of May 2021, late May. And as Dory Petit mentioned, we did have notices in the Desert Sun that ran twice, May 28th and June 4th. To date, our agency has not received any comments or email relating to the plan. And the plan is due to DWR by July 1st. And then we will be posting final documents to the MSWD website. So staff's recommendation is adopting resolution 2021-13, which adopts, files, and implements the 2020 CV WMP, as well as the 2021 water shortage contingency plan, and finally adopting Appendix L as an amendment to the 2015 urban water management plan. And with that, my staff report is concluded, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, do we have any public comments, Dory, for this item?
Nobody has indicated to me. Russell Betts looks like has his hands up.
I see you waving, Russ. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm a lot to review here, and I just hope the directors will ask in their comments as they weigh in on this thing. Desert Hot Springs has historically suffered during drought contingency plans, whereby the entire people apparently in this plans area will set a baseline for conservation, and then everybody needs to meet that. And we're in a city, of course, that is very, conserves a lot of water, mostly because we're low income. And then we end up suffering additionally. And I had hoped and pushed for in the past that the baseline be set at what Desert Hot Springs is already at, and that the quote water wasters everywhere else will be the ones who are made to bring down and meet the standard, the high standard that we set for water conservation. I don't know if that's included in this plan, if I'm even off subject. If that is in subject, I would hope that the directors, as they discuss this, would ask the same question I'm asking on the behalf of Mission Springs Water District customers, that we be shown some equity in this planning. So if I'm way off base, forgive me, but that's just an ongoing, continuing concern of mine. And I hope I've expressed it clearly enough for somebody to pick up that ball and start rolling it down the dais there. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll have a response in a moment. Any other public comments?
Anyone else wishing to make public comment on this item?
Okay, so we want to answer. That's the only comment for this part of the meeting. So
yeah, I'll let Victoria respond specifically, but the one reason that we did go to this regional plan is that we would all be held consistently to the same standard. So, and what Mr. Betts has said is something that actually we have discussed, and I've discussed it with all of the board, and that is that, you know, the state likes to put something simple in place, like you're all going to have a 20% reduction when we've already reduced our usage by more than that. But if I think Victoria can respond that we've already met what the goal is for the overall reduction in the was it 2005, I think, Victoria?
Yes.
Standard. And you know, so we've gone through everything that Mr. Betts has discussed, and he is correct that sometimes they take a little bit of the, I would say, the lazy attitude. You know, they want to make it easy for themselves, but in doing so, like Mr. Betts says, it it's regressive. It's harder on these communities that have already done a good job of reducing their water consumption, which we have. Our per capita consumption is low. Did you want to add to that, Victoria?
I would just like to say, as we see the shortage levels, they're split up between 6 different levels, which allows for a little bit more flexibility between which level is being enacted. But as the general manager stated, one of the main reasons we went to a regional plan was so that this allowed for consistency along, across the valley. And I would say that we were fairly successful in achieving that. And that, if you live in Desert Hot Springs, but work in Palm Desert, for example, the goal is that you'll see the same type of responses or levels implemented so that there's no confusion as well. And so that gives us a little bit more flexibility when it comes to implementing the response.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good addition too. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I will, hearing no more public comments, correct, people? Okay, don't see any, hear any. Okay, so I will now ask the board if they have any questions.
I do.
Okay, Director Duncan.
I heard this plan from Victoria and Steve Ledbetter, right? Yeah, Ledbetter. Several times, and something with it about it just didn't set right. I wish this agenda item were broken into several different parts. Obviously, the Regional Urban Water Management Plan is an ongoing document. We've approved that in the past. But this addendum, I also listened to it at DWA. I believe it was verbatim the same addendum. And it didn't sit right there. I listened to it again when CVWD presented it. And this shortage level 1 is okay, but what I don't see in there is any public service announcements, any education on we're in a drought, we've got a water issue, no messages, no encouragement for water conservation, level 2, level 3, level 4. Rapidly, in my opinion, becomes a huge government overreach. I think it's a self-imposed power grab. So I can't agree with it. I'll have to not approve this one, in my opinion, or not vote for it. I can't approve it or disapprove it.
Okay, Victoria, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I would like to, yes.
Okay.
Director Duncan, I can provide you with each of the response levels actions, but they definitely do include increased public outreach and education, as well as increasing rebate programs and different items that each agency can do in order to let the customer know. And regarding Addendum L, if I may, we do have the consultant on the line who helped, who facilitated the plan, and he may be able to provide greater insight if you would like, but I'm happy to, if you feel, well, the latest PowerPoint that I have here was from the April presentation, which broke down the levels. And as I mentioned, some of those have changed since we last spoke, but there's definitely an encouragement.
I've got them in front of me here. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not arguing that there are some good points in each level, but I think that there are points in each level that are unnecessary. My opinion.
And so Jaron Olthoff is the member here from Water Systems Consulting, who, as I mentioned, was the lead consultant for this plan. And President Wright, if okay with you, for him to address the addendum.
Yes, please. I was going to ask that. I was waiting for you guys to get done. I was going to ask if he would like to
I'm done.
Chime in on this, and does he have any words of wisdom for us?
Well, on the Appendix L, I can say that it's a fairly narrow document trying to show that the region as a whole is reducing its reliance on water from the Delta. And the idea is that will help to smooth out the approval process for any future projects that could help increase the reliability of that supply. And then on the shortage contingency plan, yes, there are the 6 stages. There are actions in there. There are, they've been developed where possible to have alignment between 6 agencies. But, you know, when we get to the point where if the district was in a position where they were trying to reduce water use by 20%, there would still be flexibility and decisions to make about exactly what actions to take and exactly how to approach that.
Well, we have a very good water conservation program here. In fact, Victoria does that. She runs that. You know, we've got the toilet rebates, and we've got you know, different water saving features, and certainly education is a big part. You know, newsletters that go out to our customers, and that's good. But you know, when we ask the residents of DHS to conserve water, this town always pulls through. We're down by, I don't know, 20, 30, 40%. Just by asking. And I don't know. I just don't like the overall looks of this thing. So that's my opinion. And I'm only 1 out of 5 votes, so it's not gonna, you know, not gonna make a difference.
And I have a question for you.
Okay, we got a question from Director,
yes.
Vice President Martin.
Randy, are the changes you want to make substantial, or are they just tweaking it to fit what your concerns are?
I'm not really looking for any line items to be added or removed. I just think as the strength of the power of the district, you know, goes from level to level, I think it just becomes a big government overreach in general.
Okay.
Well, I think but in a way, this was, I think, we responded a little bit to your concern by going to the more levels. So we don't get to those severe levels until 7 or 8. If you look at the one slide that Victoria showed you, you know, there was an effort to roll that out so that we don't achieve those higher levels of restrictions so early. I think is what you're saying you want to accomplish, so they don't have such an overreach. They need to go through now. What is it, Victoria? 6 or 8 levels?
6.
There are 6 total levels. And if I might add, I just wanted to point out that there is a communications plan and a communication protocol as part of the water shortage contingency plan.
I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. We agreed to go into this as a group. If one of the people don't approve it, then we've always had a very receptive and acceptable urban water management plan, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out in the valley if we're the only ones that doesn't approve this plan. We should do something to.
Can I ask for a clarification on something? Because I'm leaning toward, I tend to agree with Director Duncan. It seems like we're acting on 2 separate items that should be taken separately. I've read both documents. They both seem adequate, and I think I'd like also to point out that in the Coachella Valley, we're not in a drought according to the governor's orders, which is an interesting aspect to this whole mess that we won't ever get to explore in the depth that I'd like to, because there's so many other things on this agenda. But am I right about that? There's 2 documents here. Literally, the most important document that we take under consideration is the urban water management plan, and somehow this emergency plan got snuck in there. I wonder, can you explain how that happened, or why, or is it just because we want to get it?
Sure. Well, I can, and Jerome, please correct me if I'm incorrect, but the water shortage contingency plan is a part of the urban water management plan. they go hand in hand, because urban water management plan is about the demand and the water supplies, and then the water shortage contingency is, yes, an emergency plan to put into effect in case you're unable to meet demand. But it is definitely a part of the UWMP. It's
Okay, well, I don't remember them being together when I've been reading over historical documents. They've always seemed to me that the water management plan was a standalone document. And I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but it makes it a very thick subject for one item. And because the water management plan goes into important subjects. So the most important thing we do is to learn that plan and to know it, and to be able to argue with each other about what the right way forward is about importation of Colorado River water over the preferable source, which is the Delta water, that we're got this crazy exchange agreement that's cutting in our lives in half as a productive environment here to do business and live here in the Coachella Valley. So when we get this all mixed together, that message gets lost. And we should always try to pay attention to what that key element that just seems to have been evaporated from the discussion some years back, decades probably, but was a very big part of why the Desert Water Agency was created. River water was never supposed to be imported for drinking water or to replace drinking.
Off topic a little
Well,
bit.
no, I'm not, because it's part of the plan,
Well,
and people need to know it. And if you're going to sue adjoining agencies for things, this is why didn't you go? I don't understand that. Why you don't go in and ask for a restraining order about importing more than we need to replace what we're using?
Urban water management plan. This group does not deal in that issue. I don't think they've ever discussed that. Have they?
There are
part of their discussions or their purpose. Victoria, am I wrong there?
the importation of water.
Well, the subject that Mr. Grasha is talking about, I mean, this group doesn't really manage water. It just actually gets grant monies for the most part. It manages water through obtaining grants, basically.
Well, it is the cornerstone of the plan, is importing water and to replace. And what we've done is we've imported a million acre feet, which is 15 feet off the top of Lake Mead, to put it in perspective, and flooded our desert with it in exchange, instead of bringing the water we're supposed to bring in. And I want everyone to focus on that. Every now and then, maybe every 6 months, this should be a subject that somehow gets worked into the conversation. Thank you for letting me do it today. And I started down this path 30 years ago, probably, with my little business, and started discovering, and things weren't quite what I was being told by various people. And we're finding out as time goes by that nothing in water is what it purports to be.
Okay,
so thank you. And
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam President, it
Yeah.
appears as if our consultant Jerome wants to say something.
Okay, Jerome.
Well, I was just going to offer up that all the water suppliers use groundwater to meet their urban demands. And so there are 2 other plans going on right now to address the groundwater basins, and the alternative plans for the Indio subbasin and the Mission Creek subbasin. And so those account for the agriculture and other users of waters that aren't being served by these potable water systems. And so I think that's more of the venue that's looking at all the water use in the region and how the imported water supplies help to replenish and maintain the groundwater levels.
Well, thank you. I just think it's important to not to gloss over it too much, and to remind people that we could do better in terms of making this a part of the conversation more strenuously than other. It just gets buried.
You're right.
CBWD is recharging. I know, but
yeah,
go
okay, we
ahead.
got it. Okay.
I get it.
So, thank you. So, so why did CVWD not pass it? Do you know? What did you remember why? What was their issue with it?
The same.
Madam President, they haven't voted on this item as of yet. It's on their agenda for tomorrow.
On their agenda last week, 2 weeks ago.
Well, we will.
Just the contingency plan, not the.
I need to remind all directors to have your microphone on when speaking, please.
Well, you know, again, I mean, we did bring this to you in segments, and we brought the water shortage contingency plan there, hoping that we would get this kind of input prior to this time. We're kind of in the 11th hour right now. I just want you to know that. If, you know, I don't know what they're going to do, but if we don't approve it and CVWD does, then we're going to be the only one of the 6 or that are.
Maybe it was just a presentation that they rejected. Maybe it wasn't the actual vote. I thought they voted on it. I'll have to go through my agendas.
But I can tell you there is, you know, that's the reason we had several presentations over the last 6 months on this. So that we would get that input from you, so that when we got to this point, and then the other aspect of it is that, I mean, even as much as we agree with Director Grasha, I don't think we have the power to do what he's asking us to do. But
I don't think this group.
They're the state contractor.
I just want to pound on the desk. I don't necessarily want to stop the importation. I just want to make sure that everybody knows we're not doing the best for our citizens that we could. And I think everybody agrees with that. So we should say it every now and then. Thank you. I'm sorry. But I do support it, obviously.
Okay, Madam President, if I may, real briefly to Director Duncan's point about CVWD, this is on their agenda for tomorrow. Okay. And what was presented, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago was an informational update about where the plan stood, and similar to what Steve and I have been doing the last couple of months. And then the directors had input on some of the shortage levels at that time.
Okay. Well, I mean, their actions has no input on me. This is just, you know, after hearing it a few times, I just didn't sit well after I heard it a few times. So that's all.
Okay. So I will close the public hearing if I didn't already. And I will entertain a motion if anybody would like to make one.
I will make a motion and to adopt resolution 2021 adoption of Coachella Valley Regional Urban Water Management Plan, along with the Coachella Valley Urban the Water Shortage Contingency Plan, Appendix L addendum to the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan, for the purpose of discussion, certainly, maybe.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
And a second on the floor. Okay.
And I have a couple more comments, just real quick.
Okay, you go ahead, give your comments. Go ahead, Director Grasha.
I just want to say, I know you guys worked really hard on this, and all of you. I know Ashley's here too, and probably others. And you know, from what I read, and which was the bulk of both documents, you've done a really good job. We want to remember we're not in a drought in the Coachella Valley, and that's I don't know if that's a good thing, but right now it is. But as we go forward, it worries me that people might get the wrong idea about water usage. But with that, I say thank you, Madam Chair, and pass it back to you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming that all those drought contingency plans would kick in when Coachella Valley was considered being in a drought. I mean, it doesn't kick in all the time, only just during a drought. Okay.
Okay.
Right. When this declared a drought here in the Coachella Valley, then possibly those would start kicking in if we are short on water, once the water shortage hits us, if it does.
Madam President, if I may, it's in a drought, or also the plan allows for some flexibility. Let's say there's an earthquake, or there's just one part of our service area that has been affected. It would allow us, if so needed to implement the plan in a specific area of our service boundary, as opposed to being service-wide. So it could be within a drought or some sort of natural emergency, something like that.
Where our water supply was affected.
And let me also add another point here, and that is that we are required to have an urban water management plan. Mm-hmm. If we don't adopt something by, I think it is, isn't the deadline July 1st of this year?
That is correct.
Gloria? And we're going to look like the ones that don't have a plan.
Know what we look like, but well, I just want the board to be comfortable in voting on it. So
okay, well, me too. But
I call a question.
Okay.
No, I call it to be voted.
Okay, that's why I was just going to waiting for see if there was any other board members. Okay, so I have a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell?
Yes.
Director Gracia?
Yes.
Director Duncan?
No.
Vice President Martin?
Yes.
President Wright?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jerome. I should wave into him here. You can't see me. I'm way up here and you're way down there. Oh, anyway, okay. So item number 10, resolution 2021-09, adoption of delinquent accounts to county tax rolls. Okay, now we had a discussion about this too the other day. So that we have 3 years to collect any of this stuff. This is not a real necessity. My concern is the grant monies that we're going to try to be getting that will go to the customer's account, even if it's given directly to Mission Springs Water District. The idea of the grant is to alleviate the customer of the back payments that they owe to the water district. So the state has decided, I guess, that giving it directly to the districts was a lot more cost efficient and economical to do it that way than to try to deal with every single customer. So that's the way that they're planning on doing it, but they have to wait till, I guess, the governor's budget's passed. But anyway, so my concern is that those might intersect at the same time, where the people's the money might go on the people's tax roll, and then the grants hadn't come in yet. So that, I guess, was my concern. So but we were told Thursday, or we talked about this Thursday, if the grants come in later and the money goes to the accounts, then we just remove the lien from the property taxes, correct?
Yeah, well, I'll let Arturo answer that too, but yes. But first of all, nobody's going to lose their house over this because it's a lien. It's not an assessment or a tax.
That's
good.
That's
and we're going to do everything. We have done everything possible to date, and we're going to continue to send messaging out. We call them. We're trying to work out much of this before we get to that point. I think if there is any program out there that that provides relief to those who are having difficult time, with their water bill, then it would be handled through an independent agency like we do now, through like United Way. And so but I don't know what the state will do.
Well, the governor proposes $1 billion in his budget for this kind of stuff, right?
But we are required, to put the delinquent tax.
Well, we have 3 years, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question in furtherance of what you were saying. Do we have a mechanism in place for once the fees have gone on the tax roll to take any grant money and pay off that lien, or how would that work?
Arturo.
Yeah, there are several ways that can be done. As you know, we primarily work through customer accounts. So what we could do is we could issue a credit and a refund to those customers so that they can go and make that payment themselves. Or we could always send that payment directly to the county so that there's no issue with additional taxes after that money has been received by the district. And I'm pretty sure we'll look for more guidance from the board once that information comes down to make it easier and more equitable with those customers that have been affected.
And what's the month that these actually would go on the tax roll when we vote, if we vote on this today?
The last day?
August.
Not till August?
August 10th is the last day to make any changes. to these amounts, and we will continue to work with customers up to that date and forward, because we can always make changes with the county as long as nothing has been made, a payment has not been made, or there's a block with the county. We can still make changes up to when that customer pays, whether it's December, whether it's April. We can make those changes with at any time.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, did you say we cannot send the money directly to the county, or we can?
We can.
We can. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that'd probably be the best idea. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay, Director Gracia.
We told the governor, every news outlet, the water district, every water district in California told every ratepayer, and I believe on the first day this popped up, I said this is going to be a dicey situation, that they would not have their water shut off for non-payment. Now we're telling them we're going to take your house.
No. This is an assessment. This is an assessment.
That's what an assessment is. It means if you don't pay the assessment, it goes on their taxes. If they don't pay it,
assessment, it's an lien.
It's a lien.
A lien.
It'll be taken care of if the property sells or changes hands.
Yeah. So we're not gonna shut off their water, but we're gonna take their house. I have a problem with that. I think everybody that's freshly behind from since this whole thing began should be taken out of this part of the thing, and we should review the policy more closely, because right now we're all saying the same thing, but the general manager is saying there's nothing we can do about it. And when we adopted the policy, or when the governor put this down and shoved it at us, the people were told they wouldn't have their water shut off. Now we're telling them, we're taking your house. That's what a lien is. And I have a problem with that fundamentally, and I can't support it unless we can find a way to remove all the COVID-related liens, because they're clearly there. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't down the road try to figure out what exactly is the right thing to do. But clearly this board has problems with the way this is going. I certainly do. I can't tell people one thing and then take their house. That's what a lien is.
Can we get back to the take the house thing? Arturo, would you tell us how that works?
Absolutely. A lien does not trigger the sale of a home. What a lien does is whenever that home sells, we are in line to receive payment before it changes hands, and any payments from the buyer and the seller. That is in essence what it does, because a lien makes them check with any lien holder any amounts that are owed to them until they're satisfied, and then that property can change ownership through escrow. So it's just a notice alerting someone that, hey, here's Mission Springs, and they are owed money from this property. But it will not
trigger property tax. It's not a property tax.
What happens if we wait until it all shakes out from the governor's budget? And go ahead, Russell. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, wait a minute. We're not public comment yet.
I'm sorry. I saw somebody waving.
Come on, Steve. Okay.
Can we do that? Can we wait until we get the money from the governor and then?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see if any other board members have any comments.
I just wanted to clarify too, Arturo, anytime between now and that date you mentioned in August, if any of our ratepayers are calling in and, I know Victoria and our staff has done a great job in putting out bill inserts and different avenues for them to get bill assistance. If they get on some type of payment plan or try to work on their bill getting current, they will not be added to the tax rolls?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And they've been given plenty of notice, correct?
Several.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have. That's right.
The governor's order was that we wouldn't turn them off. It didn't say that they didn't have to pay the bill.
Well, that's why the governor's putting some money for this issue into his
and budget. I'm not sure, Arturo, if you had the numbers, but I know we reviewed, prior years, and this year was higher than prior years, but it wasn't too much out of line from years that we didn't have COVID, and we did the same procedure of putting these on the tax rolls.
Correct. That number was not was very similar to last year. The one big difference was the issue with COVID, and those customers that were not paying after the governor gave the ordinance not to shut the water off.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so no, okay, public comments then. Dory, besides Russ, go ahead, Russell, you can do your public comment now. And Dory, is there anybody else?
Not that they've indicated, but we'll
Okay.
see what happens after Mr. Betts.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank
Betts.
you. The city does the same thing with the tax rolls with the trash service, putting those collections on the
that's
tax
true.
roll. And but your issues are infinitely more complicated. I just wanted to offer that there is one instance where the trash collection and the water fees put on the property tax could end up to being paid in a hardship situation. That would be if somebody's in tax default on their properties. That might be a minor issue, but somebody's losing their home and they have to try and get caught up on their taxes. It's not just the Prop 13 taxes they have to catch up on. They're going to have to catch up on the trash fee, the sewer, and all the other ones. So there is some instance, it's not just totally not true that somebody could be thrown out of their house for these fees. So, from what it's worth department, that's my take on that one.
Can I clarify one more thing? When these go in onto the rolls, does it include the penalties?
No.
No, we have removed out of the number that you had on the presentation at $1.1 million, we have removed approximately 310,000 of those amounts for the late fees and delinquencies. And I want to remind the board that that balance that is going on the property taxes also includes the city utility tax of 7%. Most of those accounts have that, and that is part of the total that is going to the county for non-payment because we have to collect it for the city and pass it on to the customers. That's around 70,000 that the city, of the city's money that we're gonna put on those property taxes as well.
And how big of a nightmare is this for your office to handle this? Is it, are you dealing with these accounts one by one and having to do them by hand, or is it the computers figuring this out?
Both. There is a lot of special circumstances with each account, and we have to work with each customer. So we're taking it as they come, but we have until August 10th, and we can definitely make this happen because it is already part of our normal process. There's just a little bit more this year.
Well, I certainly don't want to add to your workload. I know you guys are socked in over there up here.
Okay. I have a motion and a second on the floor. Without any further comments that I see, I will roll call, please. Roll call vote, please.
Can you remind me of the motion and the second, please? I don't have record.
I don't think there was a motion yet.
We didn't. I thought we did.
No.
I thought you seconded it, Steve, or maybe that was the last one. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2021-07, addition of delinquent accounts to county tax rolls.
I'll move the item.
Okay, now I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Who was the second? Please use your microphones.
Director Duncan.
Ready.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Grasha.
Yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, item number 11, fiscal year 2021-2022 budget, A, B, and C. So I think we can do all these at the same time. Resolution. Well, let me first go. Who's going to do this? Mr. Vollum?
Yeah, no, John, we can do all three of these then in one motion.
No, I was just wondering if they had any more comments.
Oh, no, okay. You're just asking me if there's any more. Oh,
yeah.
No, nothing more to report than what we had in Thursday's meeting. We're working on getting some additional breakdown on the IT information that we'll get to you as soon as possible. But I think you all know why the justification for those is not really relative to that, but we'll get those numbers to you. Arturo, did you have anything you wanted to say real briefly?
No, only primarily the highlights of the budget. I want to remind everyone that there was no rate increase We are expecting several loans and grants related to the wastewater regional plant. There is 3 positions in the budget, one for IT, 2 for engineering. And there was a 3% revenue increase for the water cells and wastewater treatment, leaving the district in the black of $1.4 million expected for 2022. And of the total capital jobs of $33.5 million, $30.8 million is carried forward from prior years to continue with those major projects such as the wastewater regional plant. And there's really nothing of concern to bring up to the board unless there's any questions that we can answer.
I think in general, we're fortunate to be able to put this budget together.
It's a good budget too. Any comments, questions from the board?
No.
Anybody in the public would like to comment on item number 11? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion then to adopt resolution number 2021-10, 11, and 12. 3 different resolutions.
So moved.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Gracia.
Maybe. Time's over for questions. Is that right?
Oh, did you have one? Yeah, well, I thought you were done.
I was, but I got a real problem with some aspects of this budget. But I know that 99% of it I'm good with. But so I'm just going to vote yes. I'm sorry to break in with that. But, so that's yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. We have a budget. Okay, item number 12, professional service contract for TKE Engineering for the design of the Horton Wastewater Treatment Plant Tertiary Effluent Filtration System. Anything new since Thursday?
Nothing new. This is the one where I said, I actually came to you the month before and warned you that I would come back. We need to get this filtration system in place so that it eases up our percolation issues at the plant. So
The Horton Wastewater Treatment.
yeah.
Yes.
So we've already started it, and I will ask for your forgiveness more than anything. But if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer those.
Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Let's go for the roll call vote, please.
Yeah, you get a motion.
Motion in a
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry. I need a motion. A motion for motion to recommend to authorize the general manager to execute the contract not to exceed $101,200 with TKE Engineering.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Gracia.
Yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 13, professional service contract agreement for SoCal Land Maintenance Incorporated.
Nothing additional, pretty straightforward. These were the low bidders to do our landscape work. And boy, it was a close bid. So, but SoCal Land Maintenance did win it. That's all I can say.
Okay. Any questions? More questions from the board?
Yeah.
If anybody from the public wants a question, please let me know. Okay, none. So I will entertain a motion then to adopt number 13. Make it easy.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Gracia.
Yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 14, professional service contract agreement for Southern California Fleet Services for a not to exceed figure of $100,000 per 1 year.
I move professional services agreement with Southern California Fleet Services, item 14 for approval.
Thank you. I have a motion.
I'll second it.
You have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Gracia.
Yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 15, acceptance of grant of easement deed for public water utilities easement. And it's recommending general manager to do all things necessary to make it happen.
Yeah, fairly straightforward. This is an easement that we need.
We need
and
this
he's
easement.
willing to grant it to us, but we need to accept it.
Right. And it's kind of connected to item number 16.
Yes, but you'll have to do them.
I know, I'll have to do them separately. Okay. Any questions from the board? No.
I'll move the item.
I have a motion for item 15.
I'll second it.
I have a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 17, contract agreement with B-81 Paving Inc. for water and sewer
Oh,
projects.
no, wait a minute. Don't we have
Negative
two?
16.
Oh, I did. You're right. I never mind. I checked it. Sorry, my mistake. Acceptance of grant of easement deed for public sewer and water utilities easement, item number 16.
Yes. Same, just different area, same easement. We need it. And they've provided it to us, but we need to accept it.
I'll move approval, item 16.
Second.
I have a roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Now number 17, contract agreement for B81 paving for water and sewer projects, not to exceed 150,000.
These are the same contractors that we used last year. And of course, you know, the background, we came in for a little more because we anticipated less than what we did, which is good news because we have more services than we expected. They did come in substantially lower than the second bid. So it's really all I can say.
And this is for the fiscal year 2021-22.
Yes, not to exceed amount.
Correct. No questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move item 17
Second.
for approval.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 18, contract agreement with RIC Construction Company for well 24 electrical panel rehab. Madam Manager.
Well, 24 to like we discussed last month. I don't have any, or last Thursday, we don't have any additional items for you today other than they were the low bidder. And it's a 600 horsepower motor, but it takes more than just the electrical panel. They've got to rewire the entire well. We have that well rehab. So when we do this, then we'll have essentially a new well, and it's a very good producer.
Okay.
So
Was this item in the budget?
yes, it was.
We don't have anybody on here today. So it was, okay.
I'm sorry.
You have a question, Director Gracia?
Yeah, just curious why this wasn't part of the rehab. I wonder why we didn't include it in the original rehab, or is there a reason for that, or?
I think you mentioned that on Thursday.
I think we didn't. We thought maybe, we thought the panel would probably be okay. But Sam, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, the panel failed after the rehab was completed. It ran for about 9 months before we started having issues with the electrical panel.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain
And Madam President, just for reference, when you asked the question, Art and I were both nodding our head, was this in the budget? And unfortunately, people couldn't see that on the camera. So just for clarification, yes, this was included in the budget. I apologize.
Everybody's nodding. I know these hybrid meetings are interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve item number 18.
So move.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Director Martin, I'm sorry, Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 19. Anything else for the reclamation facility update?
Nothing more than it looks good so far. And of course, we are waiting to see if everything moves along, and it looks promising that we do get both grants and the financing on the balance, which would be a phenomenal financing program if we.
And how much total grant is that?
Would be we're hoping we get $16 million in grants and a 0.9% interest on the.
That's 0.9% interest. Yeah, okay.
And you've been watching the news.
Huge difference.
And if you have been watching the news, you'll see that the interest rates are getting ready to go up. So
yeah, let's keep
our timing is
closes.
great.
Yeah, that's too great. Okay, thank you. That'll be great. So item number 20, the courtyard update. We're going to have
a special
workshop on that at the end of the beginning of July, I guess it is. So the consent agenda, which is items number 21, 22, and 23. Anyone on the boards like to pull this off? Any board member? Anybody from the public make a comment on this, on any one of these items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Sewell.
Yes.
Director Gracia.
Yes.
Director Duncan.
Yes.
Vice President Martin.
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Your director's reports, upcoming events, director's reports. So we have, who do you want to do it? Or Vice President?
That's okay.
Vice President Martin.
I'll answer to either one. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to take these in order that they appear on the agenda. So that I apologize, are out of order. On the 13th of May, Desert Valley Builders Association General Membership Meeting. There's a presentation by the principals involved in the development of the Coachella Valley Arena and the president of the ice hockey team that will be playing there. On the 24th of May, attended Cabot's Museum board meeting, nothing to report there. On the 4th of May, City Council meeting. The Planning Commission previously approved a 402 residential condo project located just south of Skies Haven Mobile Home Park. Citizens group appealed the Planning Commission approval of the project, and which was forwarded to the City Council for a hearing. Testimony from both pros and cons. Council upheld the Planning Commission decision. The project will move forward. On the 6th, Desert Valley Builders Association legislative meeting, nothing to report there. On the 10th, Aqua JPIA board meeting, President Wright already reported that on the 17th. I won't add anything to that. On the 11th, Riverside County Board of Supervisors meeting, I established a blueprint for correcting the voting improprieties that took place in the last election. That was the main issue there. On the 18th, City Council meeting, new police officer was sworn in. Also, Doria Wilms is now the Deputy City Manager, Danny Soros, Assistant City Manager, and of course, as you all know, Luke Rainey is now the new City Manager. Fireworks show will be the first in the Valley, will be taking place at Mission Springs Park on July 2nd from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. May 20th, countywide oversight board meeting. Palm Desert parcel sale approved in Riverside. 7 properties were declared surplus. On the 25th of May, Riverside County Board of Supervisors COVID presentation. There were 25 public comments on COVID-19 and sex education curriculum. It was a very long meeting. What made it worse was they had a real problem with the Zoom, which malfunctioned. There was additional comments also on the sheriff's request for upgrades at multiple facilities. And also they had an arena presentation similar to the one that took place at Desert Valley Builders Association. the 26th San Gorgonio Pass Regional Water Alliance meeting. There was a state regional water supply update, and that contradicts the position of the governor that we're not heading into a drought. That was a pretty grim forecast for the entire state for the upcoming summer. That concludes my report.
Thank you. You have reports?
I do. I'm going to have to go back and check my numbers.
Please use your microphones.
It's on. I just haven't got close enough to it yet. I got to go back, check my numbers. I'm questioning myself now. I need to make a phone call after the meeting. I have on the May 4th Desert Water Agency board meeting, replenishment fee for the Mission Creek subbasin, $135.52 an acre foot. But I remember at this last board meeting, they were talking about $170 an acre foot.
I think 75, and we got the letter just today.
Okay, so the 135 must be the current rate?
No, I think it's a little higher than that. It's I thought it was like 160 right now, 150.
I didn't think it was that high. Okay,
Mr.
so
Wallen, we can't hear you.
It is a 175. Okay, so I'm not, I have the wrong number here for some reason. State water contractors meeting, nothing exciting there. Engineers report was nothing exciting. CVWD board meeting, May 25th. They've always have 218 meetings on the difference between ag water, domestic supply, well pumping. They've got different rates. They have different sources. They have different systems. It's a nightmare. I don't know how they keep it straight, but I guess they do. The contingency plan, you're right, Victoria. I stand corrected. That was an informational report. It was not a vote. But they were all not happy with the plan. We'll see what they do tomorrow, if they recommend changes or if they have changed their mind or what's going on with that. And that's all I have for notes, but I see my name several times in the agenda here, so I'll have to make up any meetings that I don't have.
Well, that was all May. That's why it seems so far back.
I know. It's kind of hard doing the month prior, but it is easier on the staff, so I'm not complaining.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of meetings I attended. The ones in May that are on this agenda, I gave the report last month for the Aqua conference and stuff. So I watched the California Water Commission meeting. The one topic that I was interested in listening to, why that was on June 16th, was the water trading in the same basin concept, which is a new thing that is coming out. And it's, in fact, I also went to the Aqua Groundwater Committee meeting, or listen to on Zoom, the groundwater committee meeting, and that they also had a big conversation about water trading in the same basin. And what they're finding out is that it's helping some GSAs to comply with SGMA by being able to trade water in the same basin. And so that's a topic they're just starting to work on. I think it's something we need to pay attention to. Just so we understand what that is and what's going on, because we have an awful big basin here. So the other thing that the Aqua Groundwater Committee talked about was educating the Supreme Court justices on water issues. I know that that's been a topic for a long time, is to have like water judges per se, to hear cases on water law. Jim Markman had mentioned that years ago that he wanted to get some kind of committee or something, commission together that would hear water cases instead of judges who really don't know too much about it. So that was also talked about. The Groundwater Resources Agency, which is Aqua is like partners with them. They do stuff with them on water topics. They had mentioned, I'm just reading my notes here, that on their website, they talked about aquifer recharge, their connection. This is the Groundwater Resources Association, to look on their website for their aquifer recharge connections with this organization. They do a lot of work on aquifer recharges. So whatever that is, maybe wants to look up there. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I probably will. Also, the Groundwater Committee went over Aqua's policies on principles and groundwater management. And the paper that they are working on is called Groundwater, a Sustainable Resource for All. And there's a white paper or a comment paper that they have, and there's 13, no, that's the wrong one. Never mind. I had it somewhere. Well, anyway, so we worked on that. They worked on that too during that meeting. And I think that, oh no, I'm going to do the CVCC, the Coachella Valley Conservation Commission, and the Energy and Environmental Resources Committee that I just went to just this last week, just because otherwise the information's old news. The two topics on the Energy and Environmental Resources Agency or Commission that took the longest time and had the most comments and whatnot. There was a presentation by the Salton Sea Authority Executive Director, Patrick O'Dow, and there was a lot of people who came to or chimed in on the meeting. And on that topic, it probably went at least 45 minutes or so, which is a long time for an hour meeting. This is only an hour meeting. And the other topic was the Coachella Valley Electric Task Force to form one about the Imperial Irrigation District and the fact that Coachella Valley residents get energy from IID, but they can't be on their board. And so there's Assemblyman Chad Mays is carrying a Senate bill for them. I don't know where it's going this year, but it looks like there's going to be an awful lot of time that they're going to have to put on this subject. But anyway, so they voted on putting together an East Valley electrical task force that would be able to respond to some of the questions that will come up about this. And that was it. Let me get those two out of the way. Okay. Back to the meeting. Director Grasha, did you have any reports?
Yeah, I have two. I'm going to try and weave them together here because they both go hand in hand. On Saturday, June 5th, that's not right. On Tuesday, May 25th, I participated in a virtual roundtable on the Salton Sea that was organized by the Audubon Society and moderated by our friend Sammy Roth at the LA Times. You'll remember Sammy. He used to work at the Desert Sun. He's the guy that called me a racist on the front page of the newspaper. It was a very exciting afternoon. And on the roundtable was Wade Crowfoot and Joaquin Escoval and Eduardo Garcia. The first 20 minutes of the roundtable was spent basically introducing each other, and then they went quickly to questions. I asked a question. I was not introduced as a director at MSWD, but as a reporter from KESQ, in an attempt from our friend Sammy to kind of dissuade people from knowing what was who I really was. But fortunately, both Wade Crowfoot and Joaquin Escoval responded to my question and my points, which were similar to what I made during the comments about the salt load in the Coachella Valley continuing to rise. And my fear was that these people that are pushing this are doing it in such a way that it's misleading to the public that this is actually some kind of actual fix for the Salton Sea when it's not, and it's truly a horrific plan. And so what happened was that question ended up being addressed by everybody and took up the entire entirety of the hour. And so I'm pleased to say that our friends from the Coachella Valley that are now in the most powerful positions in the state are very well aware of the downside of importing more salt water into the Coachella Valley. And I'm very hopeful that when this UC Davis study gets completed, who also the gentleman that's leading that agrees on the subject with me as well. And it looks like we may be able to see some pushback on this plan to dig a trench to Lucia Cortez. So that was Tuesday, and on Sunday, June 5th, I had they say life, if you live long enough, goes full circle. Well, it did. On Saturday, June 5th, I attended the memorial service for Supervisor Corky Larson. I mentioned in an email to several people, I know the board here for sure, that at the time when she was on the Board of Supervisors, was working for Mayor Bono in Palm Springs. And when the supervisor, or the congressman at the time, decided not to run for re-election, I ended up working for Sonny in his during his race during the primary. And so for the 3 weeks leading up to that memorial service, I kept asking myself, what was it that we did to cause her to lose? And they reminded me during the memorial what Sonny, it was yours truly that was responsible for it, and that was the Salton Sea, and the fringe-toed lizard is what we did to get voters to wake up to that situation. Anyway, it was interesting that almost 30 years after the event, it was talked about at the memorial service. So apparently that stuck with her for quite some time. Anyway, it was a very nice service, and she was a very important and influential woman, of course, in Riverside County. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been able to attend her memorial. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I also attended or watched the Salton Sea Roundtable with Joaquin and Secretary Crowfoot and Garcia. I didn't remember it quite like you said, but that's okay. Anyway, okay, so now we'll go on to General Manager's report.
I have nothing new to report from last Thursday.
All right.
Okay, so, and he has a big write-up in the packet. Okay, so District Council report.
I gave my report on Thursday, and I have nothing in addition to that. We will have a closed session today, and that will be on the DWA case.
Okay, director's comments.
Nothing.
I have.
Rasha?
Yeah, I have one. You know, for the last year, probably, I've been raising questions about the Horton plant and the goings on over there, and not quite getting what the truth from anybody. Turns out I've been being lied to. This board has been being lied to for a year by our staff and our general manager. It's offensive. And after hearing the our legal counsel's opinion on incompatible offices, I'm convinced that we are being led by a president that holds incompatible offices with her position at the Water Control Board, Colorado River Basin Water Board. And after reading through this, and I did not get this document from our staff. I've asked for it. I've been told that it wasn't something that was going to be available to me. I sent an email. I asked for it. I got a copy of it. I will be distributing it to the news media. You people should be ashamed of yourselves, dumping 1 million gallons of sewage in our desert and facing $10 million in fines and not advising this board of directors. It is outrageous. It is outrageous that you're still sitting in that chair and haven't resigned.
What are you talking about?
We did put that, it was in the general manager's report.
What is he talking about? I don't.
Well, there was a spill. It was in the general manager's report. Now we're following through on it. I just got the letter before this meeting, so I haven't had a chance to look at everything. That is up to so much a day. We're working with the regional board. We had a spill, and I can let Bassam explain it, or even better, we should.
I don't know if it's on the agenda today. So
yeah,
no,
it's not on the agenda today.
It's in your. It's. I'm not sure how that would work.
And we're working with the regional board right now, and we're in the process of knowing what they haven't decided what they're going to do yet with it. We reported it, And no real damage was done, but we need to report it, and we need to, it's part of what we are talking about with regard to our capacity for the.
You've been lying to this board for a year. You should already be out the door while it hits you in the butt. You're a disgrace.
Can't comment on that.
I don't know who he's talking to. I think it's me, but I'm not really sure. Okay, directors, we already did that one. Okay, so director's comments.
Bit of a lighter note. This Saturday morning at 10 a.m. is the ribbon cutting for the new library in town, and I'm excited to see what they have inside.
Oh yes, you know, and I'm not going to be able to make that.
Is this Saturday?
Really? Is it Saturday or Friday? It's Saturday. Okay, well, I'm not going to be here anyway, so I would like to go to that. I know the Groundwater Guardians, and I know Marge was working with the library, the old library, when it was over there on programs and whatnot to stuff. So I'd like to try to maybe work with the library on that too. So anyway, and Randy.
I just think the accusations and drama are just totally unacceptable. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I agree with that one. Okay, so now we are going to go into closed session. Mr. Pinckney.
Yes, so we're going into closed session on conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, one case. Case number PSC 1600676, Mission Springs Water District versus Desert Water Agency.
We're here.
Okay, Madam President, just reporting out of closed session. The board met in closed session conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. One case, case number PSC 1600676, Mission Springs Water District versus Desert Water Agency. There was no reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you.
Thank you. With no further ado, meeting adjourned.